Hi. Welcome to this place if you're new here. And of course, welcome back if you're returning. Hi. So, what's been going on? What's been going on? This feels like Cancer's reading, Cancerian energy. You know, in the constellations, it's not Cancer, it's crab. Crustacean. Okay. I guess that's all we need to say about that. Let's open up your cards and see what's going on, Cancer. Oh, happy early birthday. Excuse me, I feel like there's something. Okay. What's going on, Cancer? Okay. Just a second, please. Oh boy. All right. Cancer, give me a second. Tune in. There's 3.5 shadow cards. So it's brighter than it is dark. Good. I'm trying to figure out how to explain like what I'm seeing without being so like definitive of what it is, because it really depends on the other side of its interpretation. You know what I mean? Like, I could try to explain exactly what it is that I think it is, but your perspective on it is kind of what matters. A person's perspective on the situation is what matters. Let me see where we're supposed to start. Okay. So there's someone here who has great knowledge. They're kind of quiet. There's quiet energy here. Right. How we learn is by listening. Excuse me. Oops. How we learn is by listening. Again, to like what's happening around us or what other people say. But there's also this thing where, well, we're trying to talk about this time frame, right? So we're talking about a lesson that attaches to, think about where you made a choice because, say you did ask someone else's opinion that you thought you trusted, and they're like, oh yeah, like you should do it, go for it, or whatever, like, and you took that advice ultimately, but you didn't trust yourself. That's the lesson, is where someone takes the advice ultimately of someone else, doesn't check in with themselves, ignores their own feelings about it, and then made a bad decision. It reminds me of the time that I bought my truck, Charlie. It was like the color of that pool, Chevy blue. And it's because I wanted people in my life that I could trust, you know, where I was just like, yeah, you know more about this. And it's not to say that you don't have people in your life that know more than you do, of course, but like there's something where you want to make sure that you trust yourself in this time. Don't go against your intuition, okay? Especially with like who you're hanging around, or because that quiet's really helpful in this time to figure out, because you have a line that's kind of a tough line, and it can only be solved through silence. through silence and like pushing through the wall that someone has made in relation to a feeling. Like they're like, I don't care, it doesn't bother me. Could be even keeping yourself busy sometimes, like distracting, socializing, whatever, talking, doing. But it's like once a person just sits with it, they start to realize like, oh shit, that doesn't really feel good. But then once you get in there, it's like a wave of all the things that don't feel good, and I think that's why it's a little scary to go in there. But the High Priestess lines up with this, and if you go around the corner, if you take, it's a sharp turn, it almost feels like a U-turn. A person actually ends up in a place where they're supposed to be and what they're supposed to be working on, because your opposite Saturn is here, and this card is a heavy card, and you have 10 of Swords above it. The Eight of Pentacles sits in the middle. So for some of you, ensuring that your job, like your money situation, is good. Any of you who are relying on anyone else for something financial, that would not be helpful. You'd want to make sure that you are handling it for yourself. I wouldn't rely on anyone else's money at this time. Okay? And if you're the only breadwinner and you're paying for everything else, if you're that kind of person, then that's also something that needs to be adjusted, because there's some kind of like control or codependency in there. Okay, not to be so straight, but it's important to veer clear when the devil shows up. Right? You got to shed light. You have to be confident. You have to have faith in your heart. And right now the heart for some of you feels a little bit, you have 4 of Cups here. So it's kind of like, I don't really want to feel what I'm feeling, but it's better to acknowledge it, because then it can actually cause a recuperation of mental power, which actually improves a person's intuition, so that they know more quickly, like energetically, whether they're going towards stress or whether they're going towards that old thing, say, that has been addressed. It's like not going there as much, not going so deep into it. Or it's like, this tastes funny, or you smell funny, or it's not judging, being judgmental. It's again intuition, like, this smells bad, like I don't want to eat that. Like, this person is like cussing a lot. You know, like, no, they're always talking about how they don't like this, or they're angry about that. It's like, no. Like, but I see bubble, like boundaries. Now, I suppose during this month, there's also like a little bit of a teeter-totter. You have one guy on a horse going towards the 3 of Cups. So we're talking about inspiration with friends, maybe going to visit friends would be a good thing. I see if you are a very social Cancerian crab, then make sure you reel back a little bit on that, because to ignore whatever's and not work on whatever's going on in the heart here, it's important to work on it, because if not, then there's like, well, you're trying to sharpen something right now. You have to sharpen, you know, if you've gone all the way to the 10, that means all these swords are dull, all the knives are dull, so you have to sharpen all the knives. That takes time. It takes time, and it's slow and tedious. So there could be something that you're also working on that's slow and tedious, but it's important to make sure that you focus. I would not, if you are a workaholic, if you're on the other end and you're always again doing, I feel like you want to make sure that you're allocating. Right, remember, we work 8 hours a day, averagely. I feel like in this time, you need at least 10 hours of sleep. This is an adjustment time for you. It's a blind spot, so you need a little bit more sleep. And I guess in that regard, some of you may be having actually a hard time sleeping, and that's why you need a little bit more of it. Try to pay attention to how many hours you're sleeping and how well your sleep like time is, because you know, say like one night you're like, oh, I got like 5 hours of sleep, and then it's like, oh, I got 8, like I'm good. It's like, no, you just missed 3 hours. You got to make up for that. Now, I suppose if for some of you, you need, like, some of you could need a day off, again, if you've been working a lot. This is where you'd be like, say the friend calls and you're like, yeah, or you call, and I feel like it's more your energy. I'm feeling Sag a lot here too. It's like some kind of energy is like, hey, I heard come out and play, right? Don't just sit in the Ten of Swords. You want to remember, if you're here, you'll get out of it. Okay, because that's actually where the reading showed me to begin. So tens, remember, are a rejuvenation place, right? A person has completed something mentally, like you can't think about it anymore. It won't go anywhere. It doesn't matter. It would be just having the same conversation over and over, like I don't know if it's beating yourself up or just beating a dead horse, you know, no need. So actually a little bit of exercise outside of work, or if you don't get physical exercise in your job, that could also be helpful. Sunshine, being outside, going to hang with some friends could be a nice way to balance and recuperate again. And I see if there's anywhere where there's people talk about the same thing over and over and over, like they're just always complaining about the same thing. I see, get the heck away from them. Now, I suppose this is your reading. You have to figure out for yourself how you get the heck away from them. And I feel like the one way to do it, because it lines up with the High Priestess and the specifically, is actually to, well, sometimes you have to tell your feelings no, like a child. Like, hey, like a kid falls, I just saw it, and it's like, you know, they do that little and then they scream, and it's just like, and then somebody actually comes over and checks them out. You check out yourself and you're like, am I bleeding? Did I break anything? No. And it's like they're still screaming. You have to be like, it's okay, it's okay, you know. Don't pull the mean some of you talk mean to yourself, or like someone talked mean to someone when they're growing up, so it's like ingrained in there, where it's just like, quit your fucking crying, you know, instead of like, are you okay? Be like, let me see. Oh no, you're good, you're okay, look, there's no blood or nothing. Were you running really fast? Were you thinking really fast? Were you talking really fast? Because again, someone's sharpening their wit. They're sharpening their mind. And actually, I see, because really you only need one sword, right? That's a long sword. You only use one. You don't carry around 10. I would also say someone here is not having anybody's drama either. They're just like, not interested. I heard, I want new friends. You know, something like that. Now, I could see that friendship's good, work is good for most of you, although that needs a little bit of adjustment. Remember, you're rejuvenating mentally, so don't burn yourself out, if you're a doer. But work good, friends good. I think love in like a other kind of way, maybe family or your partner or whatever. It's like, I feel like there's a little funky in there. Let's see about that. 4 of Pentacles. Yeah. Someone's not willing to speak how they feel. It has to do with your opposite Capricorn or someone's Saturn. It's like they don't want to go there. They're like, no, it doesn't bother me. And I heard, what kind of friend? I heard someone say, what kind of friend are you? What kind of friend are you? Because someone could also feel like, well, I'm a burden. I don't want to. Someone may be like, well, I feel like I'm a burden, or no one ever asks me how I am, so I'm not going to say anything. I mean, I guess that could be an indication to who who gives a shit about you in your life or not. You know what I mean? But I heard, don't take that so personally. It's like someone's emotional deficiency. Okay? I feel like someone needs to have fun. Like, there may actually be an opportunity. Maybe someone could, like, go to a small gathering, or, oops, I hope we don't run out of time. Go to a small gathering could also be helpful. I would say this would be like a sober place, not a drinking place, you don't alter your mind, you alter your feelings. Some of you also could, again, someone realizes who their friends are, too. That's a big one. You know, maybe it's for some, they're like, well, I'm not, you know, I heard, how many sober people do you know? How many married people do you know? How many addicts do you know? Because I guess since a person has come all the way to this, then there's a new truth in a person. And because of that, they're making different decisions, right? Because they're coming to respect themselves more. And their body, like their energy, and like what they carry around or what they pick up from other people. Actually, in this time, if you're chilling with someone or you interact with somebody, and if right after that you're like, all your energy's drained and you're like, ugh, then you got to ask yourself what's the deal there. You know what I mean? Like, just be conscious of that. I heard, don't worry, where you are disengaging from certain things, other beautiful things will fill that space. You know, it's hard sometimes to shift into new places. And for some of you, this mental space you're working through, it's like this completion stage, like the end of that completion stage, I feel like for some of you was really a long time. It was sitting there a long time. It had to stew. I heard God had to work the Holy Spirit through you, or something like that, where it was just like, it's not like, oh, I'm at the 8, now I'm at the 9, now I'm at the 10. It's like, no. You at the 9 for a while, right? At the stuck in the 7, then had to get out of the 8, right? I heard, figure out what's on time, what's too late. Yep. And again, gaining a whole new perspective. I would also pay attention to your dreams. They're definitely telling you, with this 4 of Cups and 10 of Swords, like what you're hiding from yourself. Or maybe just some struggles about things. Maybe it'll give you some indication about some of your personal relationships and perhaps how to improve them. Because I suppose a big part of this too is someone's also, looking towards the long term, right? Instead of just in this moment energy. I mean, present moment is important, like a day-to-day kind of thing, but this has longevity to it also, and not being afraid of the future, right? It's like, well, I'm going to work towards that anyway. I don't care if I'm 50, or even if you only had a year to live. It's like, well, what would you do? You know? Yeah, why not? Well, what's on your bucket list, Cancer? What's on your bucket list? I heard, you ever been married? Okay. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for being here, and you enjoyed the yard and my laundry and the pool. It's a beautiful day. Thank you also, any of you that joined Patreon recently. There was a good chunk of people that planted their seeds there, and really grateful. And of course, those of you who have been there for a while, gratitude all the same. I hope you have a good month, and take care of yourself. I'll talk to you later. Peace.